Okay.
Yeah, about 30.
If you want to be an owner builder, you want to go and get the permit under your name. You want to go out and hire the subs to do all the electrical, the plumbing, and the grading and all that stuff. You can do that, but it's not easy, and unless you have a lot of experience and you know quite a bit, I don't recommend it. Rick's been doing this for a lot of years. Are you an architect?
No, I studied architecture, but.
Yeah, okay. So he's comfortable in doing that, but still, and you could probably speak to this, it's a headache. Yeah? If you have a GC that you hire, and you understand the difference, general contractor, you hire a general, they go out and get their subs, they have the insurance, it's their project, they own that project until they turn it over to you complete. That's a lot of responsibility, that's a lot of liability. So, as you're getting started and you want to get started in this, I would really recommend finding a GC that you trust and building that relationship and working with them. Just coordination of the schedule can be an utter nightmare. You know, if you have the plumber that says, okay, I'm really busy, but I got this 3-week window, I can come in and knock it out, but the framer isn't done. And so that pushes them back, but now the HVAC guy comes along and says, I want to get going on this, otherwise it's going to be 4 months before I can come back. So if you get a GC, they have to have all that worry. They figure that out. It's their responsibility. And in construction, schedule is everything. Time is money.
Hey, Susan.
Yes.
If I might just interrupt you. You talk about a general contractor, and I do want to let you guys know, I did bring in a general contractor. He's helping me on a project right now, he's here. So if there's ever a question that relates to a general contractor, I'm sure he'd be happy to chime in.
Where is he? Is that Mitch?
Yeah.
Hi, Mitch.
Hello. Don't leave, Mitch.
Mitch is a good guy. I've met Mitch.
So I did warn Mitch, I said, hey Mitch, I'm gonna throw your name out there, just so you know, be careful. And there's already one saying, don't go away, Mitch.
Okay, I'm gonna wave the flag for Mitch a little bit. Can I do that?
I'm gonna second it, because I know Mitch personally.
Yeah, I went on a project that one of Rick's jobs to do an inspection on it. And I had an opportunity to walk the job with Mitch, and he displayed to me a quality that is golden for GCs. He has a standard for how things should be done. You just don't slop stuff together. So, good on you, man.
Thank you. Can I just add to that?
Sure.
Just really quickly. So I know Mitch personally. Mitch and I are actually battling it out right now in our fantasy baseball league. Got our fantasy football draft coming up at the end of this month. But I've known Mitch. Mitch grew up with my wife, and I've seen firsthand what he does. He redid his previous home. He's done his current home. I've seen his work. Rick called me and said he needed a recommendation. Mitch was the first guy that came to my mind. It wasn't even a question. I mean, he's all about integrity, values. He likes to do things the right way. If you have a project, my recommendation, call it by us if you want to. I don't care. That's your guy. That's the guy you call first, second, third, and then somebody else. He's too busy.
So I hope you brought a lot of business cards. I need one.
I got a question. For somebody that's new, and they hire a general contractor that they find and trust, does the general contractor, do they act as the project manager, or would you recommend hiring
No,
a
well,
project?
it depends. It depends on the complexity of the job. Typically, yes, they do the contract administration stuff. But you're gonna find, and I don't know how, Mitch, how you do this, but a lot of, you know, I've done a lot of, public works and high-end kind of, you know, multi-million-dollar projects. And those guys know that when they come to the table to work on that stuff, they've gotta have the documentation. A lot of GCs doing residential work, they don't wanna mess with the documentation. It's a time sink and they just don't wanna do it. I'm a fiend about documentation. It's very important. So if he has an ability to do that, then that's fine. But you always still need to be looking out for your interests, which are distinct and separate from anything else. And you have tools.
Susan, if I could just add to that.
Yeah.
The more you require of your general contractor to do, you understand you gotta pay for that, right?
That's right.
You can't require your contractor to do A, B, C, D, and E, F, G as an owner operator and require him to do your work, but still only charge, you know, pay him for what he was originally gonna do, which is coordinate all these subs to fix the project. Well, you now got him doing construction administration. Do you understand that he can probably do that, but be prepared to pay for that, okay? So I just wanted to throw that out there.
So what are your tools as the owner? Your drawings are a very good tool. The project plans, get to know them, check them, make sure there aren't conflicts in them. It's not at all unusual for the architectural drawings to show, say for example, a shear, let's see, hang on a second. The architectural plans to show a wall with a nice big window in it, right? And then you go to the structural drawings and the structural engineer has designed a shear wall at that wall, which obviously is a problem. Do we all know what a shear wall is?
Non-load bearing.
Okay, here we go. This is, okay, so you know how you gotta put in anchor bolts in a foundation, right? And then nowadays you have something else that is added and they're called hold downs. They're heavy duty bolts that go down and strap to a 4x or 4x6, some kind of heavy or bigger piece of timber. They perform entirely different functions. The hold down resists uplift, while the anchor bolts resist lateral movement. So even if you have a whole bunch of one, that doesn't mean you don't need the other. They do very different things. And a shear wall is a component within the building to give it lateral stability. You figure the wood frame and the plywood, that's an envelope, right? If you take a box and you build 4 studs and just lay it down there, sure, you can put a lot of weight on it this way, but it may not be so strong when it comes to torsion or lateral strength. That's why the shear walls, that's a plywood, usually a piece of plywood that goes from end to end, that has a nailing schedule, 2 inches on center to 6 inches on center. And all that is calculated. Each nail calculates out to be a certain element of resistance. So that's just an example, right? Does that make sense? Sometimes the structural plans will not agree with the architecturals. So those are the kind of things you want to check.
You don't want a window on a shear wall.
Yeah. I mean, you may, and it could be designed, but then it would be a hold down on either side of the window.
Yeah, to keep that from.
Right. That's right. What else was I gonna say? So the
Susan,
project,
as you think about that, I just wanted to add to what Susan's saying, and I apologize for interjecting, but there's so many things, I'm so passionate about construction and architecture and design and all that. that I want to interject this. So, for the most part, a lot of the fix and flips, everybody's taking out the interior walls. Everybody wants this nice open living concept, right? But guess what, if that interior wall is a structural wall or has been designed as a shear wall, and you remove it, guess what happens to the integrity of that building? And you as owner builder that pulled the permit to get this work done, guess who's responsible for that? Right? So when you go and sell this property and it happens to be, God knowing, we live in the Pacific Rim, what are we known for?
Earthquake.
Not only wildfires, but earthquakes,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
If anything happens
So-
to that building, who's responsible for that?
Yeah, that's a good point, and actually, it goes to say also, if you buy a building that's, got unpermitted work, even though you didn't do it, when you buy it, it's yours now. So, that's absolutely correct, as the owner of the property, you are the ultimate responsible person. So, the next tool that goes along with the drawings are the specifications. Now, again, for projects, small residential, you probably aren't gonna have a big old book of project specifications. Often they are written on the drawings, under the general conditions or the framing notes or something like that. But the specifications will detail what elements are going to be used, what type of waterproofing, what type of everything. And they also define the general requirements. General requirements are payment methods, schedules, all that stuff. I'll get a little bit into that. You know, I mean, Rick and I could probably talk about this for days. You take courses, and Solano College has a good curriculum. I actually did that many years ago. You know, take the code classes, take the construction classes, plan reading. You can take soils mechanics classes and things like that, and that will really help explain all this. That's a good reminder. Let's see. And the contract. Now, the contract is a really important tool. Now, quite often the GC is going to want to give you a contract that he's used, but that's not necessarily in your interests. And there's some elements to the contract that should absolutely be in there, I'll go over later. So you want to pay attention to what does the contract say, and making sure you get a good contract with a good language in it. The AIA, American Institute of Architects, they publish a contract for small projects. It's very good. That's where my training comes in. I'm CSI certified, and CSI is Construction Specification Institute. There'll be information on that at the end. But go ahead and become a member of some of these groups. Attend the monthly meetings. All that contact, as Rick was saying earlier, will rub off, and you'll start picking up the language and understanding what all this stuff means.